Guys, man, we got to talk about this, man. Everything Shedeur Sanders does now and has been done in the last 2 years has been caught on videotape. It has been caught on camera. Shedeur Sanders is that dude. Everything surrounded around Shedeur Sanders will be filmed and televised. And this latest encounter with his general manager, Andrew Berry, has gone viral. And we're going to unpack all that here next, here on the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Well, guys, man, we got some breaking news that we need to talk about, man. And this is all surrounded around Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns, their 5th round draft pick. And we all know how that went. We waited and we waited until Shedeur's name was called. And when the Cleveland Browns finally came back around on the board, it's almost like we wanted to see what the Cleveland Browns was going to do, because we was well off into the second, third day of the draft, man. And Shedeur Sanders at that time did not find a home. And what happened? The Cleveland Browns take Shedeur Sanders, 5th round pick, 144. He gets drafted to the Cleveland Browns. Now, when he got drafted, everybody saw the war room in Cleveland on the reaction of some of the guys' faces. And especially Jimmy Haslam, the owner. Jimmy Haslam has already came out to say that he wasn't going to pick Shedeur. This call was on Andrew Berry. This was Andrew Berry's call to make. This was Andrew Berry's pick. So Andrew Berry pulled the trigger and drafted Shedeur Sanders with the 144th pick in the 5th round. So now that Shedeur Sanders goes into OTAs, we've seen footage of Shedeur Sanders throwing the ball around, looking good. The knock on him said he didn't have a strong arm. His IQ for quarterback wasn't that great. Some of the interviews that he conducted, they wasn't good interviews, which all came out to be lies. They try to condemn this man because of his father, Deion Sanders. And they wanted to keep Deion so far away and wanted to let Deion know that you're not running the show. Because we all know what happened at Colorado in the middle of the season when Deion Sanders sat down and had an interview, and he talked about he wanted to have some say in where Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and Shiloh was going to go in the NFL draft. And I think a lot of owners in the NFL looked at that and said, nah, we're going to teach this young kid a lesson. And through that lesson, they made Shedeur Sanders sit and wait to the 5th round to be drafted at number 144. They took a quarterback in Dillon Gabriel before him. And with that being said, now we get to training camp. Shedeur Sanders don't get no first team reps or anything like that. He's out there throwing with the 3rd string, 2nd string. But he's out there making the best of his opportunity. They showing footage of him throwing the ball, throwing touchdowns. He ain't thrown no interceptions in training camp. Versus to Dillon Gabriel throwing interceptions and things like that. A lot of people saying Dillon Gabriel is having a bad training camp, and Shedeur Sanders is outshining him, and Shedeur Sanders should move up in the depth chart because they got him listed as the number 4 quarterback. So what is going on now is Dillon Gabriel, he sustained a hamstring injury, hamstring tightness, soreness, and Dillon Gabriel wasn't able to play the first preseason game. So they gave Shedeur Sanders the nod and started him against Carolina, which a lot of media personnel thought that they were setting Shedeur Sanders up for failure. But if y'all all know Shedeur Sanders, the confidence that he has, the quarterback play that he's been displaying in the last 4 years in college, this guy is an absolute talent. He's a first-round draft pick. Now, watching the game tonight, Tennessee versus Atlanta, the number 1 pick, Cam Ward, has struggled in 2 preseason games to me personally. He missed some throws tonight. A couple of receivers dropped a couple of his balls, but he let them out too far. But Shedeur Sanders should have been at least a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. So he got the nod against Carolina, and what'd he do? He went 12 of 18 for 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 carries on 19 yards. And he moved the ball down the field and led the Cleveland Browns to 3 scoring possessions. And they won 30-19. And in that game, on the sidelines, general manager Andrew Berry was mic'd up with Shedeur Sanders, and it was caught on tape. Now this clip is going viral of what general manager Andrew Berry was saying to Shedeur Sanders. But before we get off into that, we partnered up with Underdog Fantasy, and this is a word from our sponsor.
Underdog Fantasy is the best way to play fantasy sports. Let me tell you about the easiest way to get in on some WNBA and NBA action. Find your player, pick higher or lower, win you some extra cash. Pick between 2 to 5 players to fill out your pick'em entry, get every pick right, and win some serious cash. Use my promo code SBD23 and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now that it's football time, follow Simply Ball Dropping as I share my picks. Like I said, pick your player, choose your amount, win money. Make picks, win cash. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for the partnership with us. And thank you for using promo code SBD23 on Underdog Fantasy.
Now, with that being said, man, let's get off into what general manager Andrew Berry and Shedeur Sanders was talking about when they was mic'd up. So let's take a listen.
Really, really good. Proud of you.
Cool.
Really, really nice job.
You're not fully proud, kinda.
I'm
kinda proud.
Look, for your first time, it was a perfect no, but you made plays, you operated, like, so it just stacked.
I love when you tell the facts, do you? No, but it's okay. It's okay.
Listen, you did a nice job, okay? So just take what you learned from tonight, apply it to the joint practices, and then the next preseason game. All right?
You were the real player now. I'm gonna bring that sauce to you.
I know you will. I know you will. Really good job. That's a great start.
It feels more real. Now, I'll just say I'm back in my groove.
Now, you heard what general manager Andrew Berry had to say, man, and how Shedeur Sanders responded to that. Now, in this situation, Andrew Berry sounds like a proud uncle. I ain't gonna say a proud papa. He sounds like a proud uncle. And he said, yeah, this is my project. I made the call. I drafted you, Shedeur, and you're proving me right. And that goes to show that what Jimmy Haslam said, the owner said, he didn't want to pick him. It was Andrew Berry's call. And Andrew Berry made the right call. And now that Shedeur Sanders is sidelined with the oblique injury, but they hope he's hopeful for the last preseason game, knowing he's not going to play against Philly tomorrow night. It's all on Dillon Gabriel. It's all on Dillon Gabriel to show what he's made of and to show why the Cleveland Browns drafted him before Shedeur Sanders. They drafted him to be their franchise quarterback. Now, if Dillon Gabriel goes out there and shits the bed, that's going to make Andrew Berry look like he's a genius. But we all know what Shedeur Sanders' capabilities is. We all know what Shedeur Sanders does. We all know what Shedeur Sanders stands for. Shedeur Sanders is one confident young man, and you can't shake his confidence, man. These guys like Deion Sanders, his father said, man, they got God on their side, man. You got to trust and believe in Shedeur Sanders. He said he's just grateful for the opportunity. But you heard what General Manager Andrew Berry said, man. You did a great job, man. Keep learning on this. So from the words that Andrew Berry said, it seems like Shedeur Sanders is going to stick around. Shedeur Sanders is making a name for himself, man. And in the words of Roy Jones, y'all guys must have forgot. I must have forgot who Shedeur Sanders is. I see everybody in the comments section, #salute. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.